It is common knowledge that President Rodrigo Duterte is very unhappy with criticisms on his war on drugs, even coming from President Barack Obama. So I asked him if anything would change under a Trump leadership. President Duterte, somehow softened his stance there, saying that he has a wait-and-see attitude coming into the Trump administration. He even told us that at some point there was a conversation between him and President-elect Donald Trump, and he said that we have the same mouth, only yours is in English and mine in Filipino. We were also speaking about his plans. He already said at some point for America, for the United States to prepare themselves for the possible abrogation or repeal of the VFA. President Duterte saying he is thinking about this, he is rethinking it, because even members of his military are getting angry at him because of this possible repeal or abrogation of the VFA. So moving forward, is this something he will do? He says he will see, rethink, and study this repeal or abrogation of the VFA. And on recent reports of the president's admission of killing some people, the president admitted that yes, there was a time that he did kill 3 persons. This was in Davao City, but he says this is because of law and order. These were criminals. They were not suspects. These were kidnappers, and they engaged, the president was around, these kidnappers engaged them in a gunfight, hence the shooting of 3 individuals over in Davao City.
August 2016, the United Nations urged the Philippines' new president, Rodrigo Duterte, to stop promoting the unlawful killings of suspected drug users. In just 3 months, scores of people have been killed as a result of Duterte's extreme response to the war on drugs. Although this brutal rhetoric has shocked many outside of the Philippines, those who voted for Duterte point to widespread crime and drug addiction as issues only solvable by an aggressive leader. So how is Duterte cracking down on his violent war on drugs and crime? Well, Duterte's focus on crime is not unfounded. Before his presidency, he was mayor of Davao City, the fourth most crime-ridden city in the country, the second highest for rape and the highest for murder. From 2010 to 2015, it saw more than 37,000 crimes, including murder, homicide, physical injury, rape, robbery, theft, and carjacking. And this trend across the country has been on the rise. In 2015, crime rates jumped by nearly 50% from January to June. In 2005, Philippine police reported to have solved upwards of 90% of cases, but by 2014, fewer than a third of cases were said to have been solved. The police allege that this is not the result of increasing crime, but underreporting in prior years. Nonetheless, Duterte has singled out drug use as the primary enemy in his new regime. The president has been quoted encouraging people to kill drug users themselves as an alternative to calling the police. In just the 3 months following Duterte's election, 1,900 people and counting have been reportedly killed by police and vigilantes, with many bodies bearing cardboard signs noting their alleged crimes, mostly drug-related. In fact, the Philippines does suffer from a widespread drug problem. The most commonly used illegal drug is crystal methamphetamine, also called shabu, accounting for nearly 90% of drug seizures in 2014. 3 years prior, the United Nations reported that the Philippines was the largest user of shabu in East Asia, although the drug itself originates mostly from China. Chinese criminal syndicates traffic the drug through the Philippines, accounting for its widespread use. In the most populated metro area of Manila, roughly 92% of the districts are affected by drug use. But the response by the government and police has been shockingly excessive. Besides widespread murder by civilians sanctioned by the new president, the police themselves are regularly accused of committing criminal acts. In 2014, Amnesty International reported that a secret Philippine prison was discovered where police systematically tortured inmates, even making games out of it. Many Filipino residents voted for Duterte because he promised to take a tough stance on the Philippines drug war. And since taking office, a whopping 91% of residents surveyed still support their new president. But many around the world do not see extrajudicial murder as a solution. Instead, opponents push for drug rehabilitation programs and eradication of Chinese criminal syndicates and more accountable policing. But with Duterte in power for the next 6 years, there seems little chance of a ramp down in violence. So how did a leader with such a ruthless reputation get into power? Who exactly is Rodrigo Duterte? Find out in this video.
Duterte has even promised to kill thousands of criminals if elected, saying, "I do not want to be president. I do not want to kill people, so do not elect me as president."
Thanks for watching Seeker Daily. Don't forget to like and subscribe for new videos every day.